Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army.
Welcome to another episode of Eradicating Program Ignorance. Tom Crier. This is the form of EPI, where I go through what's happening and what we're seeing on our news today and what's affecting us most in our lives. Well, as you all know, we just went through a midterm election and there was a ripple. Not a wave. Certainly not a tidal wave. Anyway, this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about what is affecting us most as we go forward. I am Roger Landry. I am the founder of the Liberty Beacon Project and somebody who's very concerned. As you all know, I constantly talk about perspective. And I'm a baby boomer, which means that I have at least 3 generations of perspective. I have seen what America was and I see what America is. I can tell you something right now, okay? They're not the same thing. And most of you cannot understand why people my age, why baby boomers see a stark difference. Because if a tiny change is made every day or every week, nobody really notices. But the cumulative effect over 50, 60, 70 years can be astounding. And this is what we're saying. So, and you'll have to excuse the throat clearing. This is just part of me. I have no idea, but every time I start to do a show, it seems that my throat decides it doesn't want me to talk. Probably not the only thing out there that doesn't want me to talk. But today our topic is going to be, well, it's going to center around something I actually wrote an article on about a year ago. And it's like progressive/liberal. You, and yes, I mean you, are responsible for the rise of Trumpism. Okay, we just had a midterm election, as I said. In that midterm election, by any rights and by historical precedents, the Republicans should have lost both the House and the Senate. And this isn't what happened. There should have been a blue wave, and the Democrats were very confident that there was going to be a blue wave because this is a historical precedent. We're 2 years into a new president's term, and there's usually a bloodbath on midterms. Except that's not what happened. What the Democrats have actually done is they've actually put themselves into probably a worse position now than they were in prior to the election. And how could I possibly say that? They won the House. Yes, they did. They won the House to do anything that requires a simple majority. And there's not a whole hell of a lot that requires a simple majority, but there are things that can be done. And you constantly see them saying things like subpoenas. Yeah, okay. Time wasters, that's all they are. So, there will never be a supermajority in Congress. So what they will be able to accomplish is merely to subpoena people into committees where they can literally try to bury the truth or to impeach a president that has committed no impeachable offenses. So, if you stop to consider that any bill they pass, even with a simple majority, meaning 51% or slightly over 50%, okay, versus the supermajority, which I believe is 60%, once it goes to the Senate, there is a majority of Republicans in the Senate, and it will not pass. So the Democrats have put themselves into more of a position to having to compromise at this point, or listen to the Republican brethren. Because if they don't, nothing will pass. And all they will do is march time. And what's going to happen if they continue down the Kavanaugh path? Okay, if they continue down the demonization path, the Trump colluded with Russia path, we saw what happened in 2016. We saw what happened in 2018. No blue wave, barely a blue ripple. And they have not put themselves in much of a better position anywhere. But if they continue down the path they're traveling right now, it will absolutely and utterly destroy any taste left in the mouth that might have any pleasant aftertaste by the Democrats in the last election come 2020. Nothing will exist that will exonerate any of the crap they have pulled, not only on the Republicans, but on the American people themselves. How much stuff is being accomplished while all of this theatrics is going on? What is happening in the country while all of these theatrics are going on? Right now, it has been stated that by several CNN individuals that the biggest threat to America today, the biggest terrorist threat is white males. White males. If you stop to consider all that is going on at this point, ask yourself why. I started it all off by stating, progressives, liberals, you are responsible for the rise in Trumpism. Have you ever, especially the baby boomers out there listening, have you ever seen this country this screwed up? Why are we here? How did we get here? How did a guy like Trump ever get elected president in the first place? It's because of all of you liberals and progressives, and I doubt there's too many listening, but maybe they've got some good friends who might share some of this with them. You did this to yourself. What you portend and pretend today has been brought upon yourself by none other than yourself, because you are the sheeple. You have the ability to be led beyond any society that has existed, or any, modification of the American society that has existed, and I can't remember how long. So let's get into this a little bit deeper, okay? But please let me start this by saying, I lay claim to being neither a Democrat nor a Republican, and actually subscribe to no official or, structured party. I'm an American. If asked to describe my beliefs, I would have to say they are conservative leaning in nature, with a solid anchor in individuality, nationalism, minimal government, and influence in my life, and a firm belief in the wisdom of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution as the supreme law of this union. So as you can see, I'm no real pony in the race, but you are about to, about to be educated on observations of an individual with 3 generations of perspective. Here we go again. In a nation that is decaying into chaos, most recently due to a feeling of superiority and entitlement demonstrated by a political party / ideology gone spastic and no longer serves the will or the needs of the people. In order to be a viable, political party in this country, mustn't you serve someone? Mustn't you represent someone? Okay? If you do, and you are portending and pretending the things that that we've seen so blatant, damage to personal property, people being attacked in the streets, people's homes being attacked, doors being damn near broken down, chased out of restaurants, dragged down the street by a car, beaten almost senseless. And no, folks, I'm talking very, 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 very little about conservatives here. So, let's open this can of worms and let's see what crawls out, okay? The influence that the progressives or liberal Democrats have exercised over this union in its massive push instigated by elitist influence such as Soros to stifle nationalism and force globalism and open borders down our throats to the ultimate destruction of our sovereignty has taken a heavy toll on we the people in the last generation, with special emphasis on the administration to such a degree that it has many Americans angry and demanding change. This is the catalyst that motivated the masses to get out and vote for that change. We had 8 years of liberal policy and the people rose up against it. I dare you to describe it any other way. I dare you to. Because if what I said is not 100% true, Hillary Clinton would be sitting in the freaking White House right now, and we all know it. It wasn't how good Trump was that got him elected. It's how screwed up we knew everything else was that got him elected. It was Trumpism that got him elected. This is the very reason for the rise in Trumpism. In a society that had grown tired of, the country perpetually sliding down the crapshoot towards, globalism, exacerbated by ignorance, social decay, and economic turmoil. Do you think people were ready for something else? I know that the unemployment rolls skyrocketed. I know that the food stamp recipient level skyrocketed, and I could go on and on and on. Today, via progressivism or hyper-liberalism, America suffers this advanced society decay via rampant political correctness. Another thing we need to bring into the equation. You only need to look at our college campuses for immediate and blatant proof of what I'm talking about. That invades all we say, do, and think, stifling and, in some cases, restricting free speech and action. These are our children doing this. And it's because their professors are telling them this is what you need to do. And that's what you're going into debt to pay for, that education. We also suffer a failing education system that now teaches our children, listen to me, to be common. It's called Common Core instead of unique or special. And liberals have provided a social welfare system that provides all one could want for basic existence with little to no productivity or input required for the price of unwavering allegiance, meaning votes, to those providing bondage or slavery. And for most entrapped in this progressive welfare state, they seem to have a hatred for many of the very concepts that this union was built upon. Stop and think about what I just said, okay? Antifa, the people rising up in the streets, so on and so forth, okay? If you stop to think, okay, where do these people come from? Why is it that they don't understand what I understand? Why is it that they hate everything that America stands for so damn much? And if you don't think so, just ask them, because white men are the biggest terrorist threat to this country today. And this guy was lauded for that. Even now, we see liberal Democrats still rebelling against a fair election, even 2 years after it happened, with a vengeance, using unethical mechanisms or unconstitutional methods that facilitate riots at the drop of a hat. Hate speech, death threats, fake news, system rigging, and, I don't know, stops just short of open revolution. Although even that has been openly called for by far too many who actually haven't got a clue just what they're asking for. So why are conservative thinking Republicans in general hated so much by these liberal Democrats? Why? Why are we hated so much? And again, I am not a liberal. I am not a Republican. But I do have my conservative leanings. So yeah, I guess I get chucked right in there with the rest of y'all. Because they honestly believe to their core, okay, the core of their being, that all Republicans, from moderates to conservatives, all the way to neocons, and many independents are evil, greedy, fascist, and racist. If you don't believe this to be true, again, just ask them. Literally. Anyone watching the complicit mainstream news over the last 2 years, especially since the election, can find countless examples of these accusations being regurgitated by any self-respecting, liberal Democrat with an intensity that exploded with the realization that they had lost that election, that they assumed morally and ethically was theirs by right. Never mind the fact that the numbers and constitutional functionality does not back their assumption or their expectations. And then we have, I don't know, a mini-me version of the 2016 election, which is the 2018 election. And any Democrat who can stand up and tell you that they gained anything in the 2018 election except the ability to make us all more miserable and subpoena a lot of people for a lot of useless time wasted, that's all they bring to the table. That's it. Okay. Today, if we are to judge by progressive or liberal ongoing actions with respect to freedom of speech, theirs, not ours. The right to assemble, riot. The ability to toss federal and local laws aside and ignore the Bill of Rights and the Constitution are all within their realm, and not to be exercised by the evil conservatives or Republicans. Only them. Again, one only need look at the complicit newspapers, watch the fake televised news, or follow the liberal forums on social media to realize that all I've just stated are fact. Trumpism is the culmination of past and present or recent progressive and liberal Democrat actions of a serious and societal changing nature, such as calls for open revolution, violent riots in the streets, of course paid for by traitorous naturalized American citizens, Soros, openly attacking physically conservatives, gay marriage, transgender bathrooms in our vulnerable children's schools. Freaking really? Open borders, unchecked or unreinforced immigration policies, sanctuary cities, Obamacare, illegal IRS harassment of conservative organizations, democratic political corruption, pay-for-play, treason, on a scale unseen, etc., etc., etc. And I mean those, all three of them, that have forced the awakening of the sleeping conservative giant. We the people who were, desperate for change. Change that was offered by one non-politician. Because of a large and rapidly growing number of conservatives no longer trusting politicians to any degree. And who was that? My God, Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Trump butt buddy. I can guarantee you 100% that we at the Liberty Beacon hold him to task when need be, just like we did anybody else. But damn it, doesn't deserve what he's getting. The country doesn't deserve what he's getting. We the people don't deserve what he's getting. The only thing yet to be determined about Trump is whether we traded one tyranny for another. And yeah, you know what? The jury's still out on that. And that's our job. That is what the alternative media needs to be doing. Well, what if I told you now that all that you base your beliefs on or understanding on as to what constitutes a liberal or a conservative, a Democrat or a Republican, or such recently popular topics such as fascism, racism, are false? What if I told you that the definition leading to the perception rooted in the mindset of every liberal Democrat is exactly 180 degrees out of phase, or just the opposite of that perception or belief? You would obviously think me insane, especially if you are a liberal Democrat. Well, I'll tell you what. This is something we're going into on the next show. What I want to do before we wrap this up, okay, what I think I need to do is explain to you that this is commentary, all right? It's not satire. It's commentary. Did I spit out a bunch of facts? Yes. Did I give you a bunch of links? No. But if you honestly believe you can show any point that I've made here to be wrong, please go to TLBTV.com and put a comment on this show. And I promise you, I won't ignore you. Because what far too many people out there are failing to understand is the immediacy and the intensity and the size of the issue we are facing right now. We are closer to an open revolution in this country than we have ever been since, well, you know when. This country is on the verge of open revolution, a civil war, okay? When I say revolution, I mean it will be somebody stepping up to take down a sitting president, or to literally bring violence into the streets for all those who support the sitting president. I honestly believe we are very, very close. But with all that I've said today and all that I said last week, anybody who doesn't believe that this is choreographed, you suffer from programmed ignorance. What we always seem to be getting back to that phrase. Why? Because those are the fighting words. That's the battle cry, okay? That's the mission statement of the entire TLB project, the Liberty Beacon. It's the eradication of programmed ignorance. Nothing has done more to take America to her knees than 3 or 4 generations of programming. Today, reality to most people, well, they're ignorant of it. Why? Because of 60 to 80 years of programming. And now we have Common Core, which has taken it to the next level. You all need to understand that if you think I'm nuts, you're ignorant, and I'm not insulting you. I'm not calling you a bad name. I'm accusing you of having a lack of knowledge, or a lack of real knowledge, truth. That's what we're going to be giving you on this show every week. If we emphasize a point, it's not to make any money. Do you see us advertising anywhere, even for donations? The only ads we have on our websites belong to health product companies and somebody who makes trailers for patriots, and we don't ask them for a penny. We just have their ads there. If you don't believe me, click on the ads and ask them. This is all about eradicating programmed ignorance. This election has resulted in 2 things. One, the Democrats literally have put themselves in limbo. They really can't accomplish anything, but what they can do is make life just as miserable as they have been making it for Republicans and this president all along. Tell me, where does obstructionism stop and treason start? If your intention is to keep the sitting administration from accomplishing anything for the American people? Are you, in fact, being seditious or committing treason? Somebody out there tell me. Please, somebody tell me, because I know what I think. It's a sad place to live today, people. When I grew up, I couldn't be prouder of anything. Today, it's a sad place to live. But we can make it better. How can we make it better? We can eradicate us from programmed ignorance. And with that, I'm going to let y'all go. You know what we're going to be talking about next week. This is going to be an ongoing discussion. I don't know. By the end of the year, we might be doing part 52. Y'all have a real good day, and thanks for listening. And most of what you just heard will be in an article accompanying this show. Have a great day. This has been Eradicating Programmed Ignorance, the Town Crier. I am your host, Roger Landry. Please stay safe.